Hello, hello, hello. I am making a video in the garden at this house, and it is noisy outside. There's a noisy street. There are actually two streets out there. There is the 101 and another road, and they're kind of close together, and so there's a whole lot of traffic going through. Big trucks and semi-trucks and loud music sometimes like humongously loud music, and I just can't imagine how something like this can be tolerated by anyone. So, well, I find that violent, and I reject everything that's violent. That is my policy for life. But sometimes I have to laugh. Sometimes I hear homeless people out there cursing around. They're definitely not feeling good. It's chaos out there. Total chaos. But, this is an old Buddhist belief. And I'm not a Buddhist, but the Buddhists are my teachers, of course. It's an old Buddhist belief that you can make peace and love in times of war. It doesn't matter what's happening around you. Chaos, confusion, act-outs, violence, poisonous substances, drugs, suffering. No matter what's going on around you, car accidents you hear, I always pray to the blue God when I hear squealing tires. Blue God, make it that they don't have an accident. But sometimes they do have accidents, and you hear a really big collision. Horrific. And then I always worry, I always think, what if there's an animal, an innocent being, an animal or child in that car? So it's very difficult. Very difficult. It's very difficult for me to live in this world. Very difficult. Breathe. Breathe. So, and then my own emotions, my own psychology coming in. The trauma from the past that wants to stand in the way of me making positive decisions, that wants to stand in the way of me having courage to go out into the world and meeting people and creating a therapy help center. My past pain, my mother, discouraging me. My mother thought I'm stupid and will never become successful. That's what she always believed. My dad praised my artwork because he wanted to, it was some kind of make-believe. He wanted a Van Gogh daughter. So he wanted a female Leonardo da Vinci or Rubens or whatever their names are. Raphael. That's my favorite one. Raphael. The Transfiguration of Christ. That's the ultimate. And I'm not religious. I just see that painting and I go like, okay, now that's attuned. That's connected to the infinite. That's an expression of the infinite. They got lucky with their closed-minded religion that they got that painting. I hope they appreciate it. But It's very difficult for me to exist. Very hard. Very difficult. I just want to live in a world where there is no violence. I want to live in a world where everyone is like that banana slug. That's my dream. When we did that whale campaign in 2009, I initiated this here in this community because an environmental friend of mine, who I guess she didn't want to do it, but she felt like it was necessary, so she asked me to do it. Later on, they wanted to hitchhike with all of that work that I had done. That's kind of human, all too human again. I didn't let them. And I didn't let the Democratic Party either to hitchhike with it. I let them have a stand there, but I wasn't sitting next to them. Someone came over and wanted to force me to have my table next to them, so that it would look like this is kind of like an effort from the Democratic Party. I said, no, I like it here under this tree. It's nice shade. I almost was, that was in 2009. I wasn't so strong yet psychologically. So the healing, all of this crying and the healing, believe it or not, it makes you stronger. It makes you a whole lot stronger. But my inner voice said, don't do it. Don't buckle to this guy's pressure. Don't do it. Who the heck is that guy anyway, to come up there to my table and demand from me to sit next to the Democrat? I mean, I was a supporter of Hillary Clinton up until that point. When they turned on her, I turned on the Democrats. So, I guess a lot of people will not be on board with that, But again, don't believe the corporate agenda propaganda. Don't do it. They had a huge propaganda against Hillary Clinton, humongous. Hillary Clinton would have done exceptionally well, like Bill Clinton and like Donald Trump. But nobody can reach the height of Donald Trump. Nobody can reach that genius, and also particularly that spine. That man has spine. That man does not buckle to friggin' peer pressure with Black Lives Matter shit and Antifa BS. Okay, he doesn't buckle to any of these kind of socially pressured, socially forced kind of things that come straight from the corporate agenda. They know how to play with. They know how to fuck with people's minds. They really do. Believe it. And they got almost everyone with that. Not me though. I see through this shit. I see through all of that. And it's an advantage. And it saves my ass, and it's also depressing. It's very depressing what I see in the world. Very depressing. But if it's depressing, if it feels like this is unbearable, it often feels unbearable. Then, in the past, I was always very close to that threshold of exiting. Very close. Many, many times. Tens of thousands of times. But my inner voice is now saying, no, those are feelings from the past. Okay. you can conquer that. You can go through this. This is an opportunity for you now. It's an opportunity for you to go through this, no matter what life throws at you. Okay. If there's love, that's a present from the infinite. Okay. If there's rejection, then that's a challenge. It's an opportunity to feel through it. Arjanov always called it feeling the pain. You have to feel it. Feel it, not escape from it. Feel it and not run away. Not escape into an act out, we always want to escape into an act out of some sort. We always want to, we think of something that, I was addicted to my dogs. It's the truth. Oh my God, I just saw 1-1-1-1. Oh my God. Right when I said that, I was addicted to my dog. And that means that was 11 minutes and 11 seconds of video lengths at that moment. And I see the video lengths here going by the second. Okay. So, and that's good that I see that. Otherwise, I would make way too long videos. I have the feeling this video is going to be very long because I had a really bad dream. So, let me talk about that dream a little bit. Something itches. But anyway, man, yeah, I just want people to know that I'm not perfect. Don't think that I'm in any way flawless or something. I just want to show my flaws right up front. I don't want some disappointment to happen later on. So I have a chunky belly. And I'm not pretty, so it is what it is. But I still love my face and my body, and I love myself just the way I am, with the split hair and everything. I love myself, and I love myself with all of my insecurities, with the fear of the future, fear of rejection, and fear of jealousy. I love myself, okay, because I understand where this is coming from. And I pamper myself, with holistic health and everything. And I'm really good to my skin and my body. And I nurture myself, and it feels really good. I love my boobs, my butt too. That's not the Brazilian butt or anything, but it's a butt. But it's okay butt. It's an okay German butt. Yes. So anyway, the dream, my gosh. Whoa, that seemed like all night long I was dreaming this. It was this theme, the continuous theme, and that's a recurring theme, of the world being totally a mess and chaos. And everyone around me selfish and just looking out for their own advantages, and everyone also very influenced by society, by society's not even so much the standards. Those was I don't even have any contact with those type of people, so that are hung up on society's standards and stuff like that. I have nothing to do with those people. I'm always with those people that are free from that. But I see a lot of people that are I don't want to word myself in a way that it could be offensive in any way. I want to be careful and I want to be sensitive. And I'm in the middle of it. I'm not above at all. I'm right in the middle of that, rather towards the bottom. I have needs. I have addictive needs. Although I have a prefrontal cortex and I'm working on myself, and I know that I see all of certain things as an addiction. Dependencies also. I was dependent on my dogs. Earlier I sat there and I thought, oh, the papa. Thought about the papa. My European Basset Hound. And I thought when the papa was here, papa was so easygoing, I still have this one perfume oil standing in the shelf, and I bought that spray at Trader Joe's when we still had the papa. Bought that in Ashland, Oregon, and we went on several vacations with him to hot springs, and just reminded me this spray bottle there. I have sprayed all of that out, that air freshener, face freshener, rose spray, and I have put perfume oils in it, and I always think of the papa when I see that spray bottle, and I think that things were good when the papa was here. It was still heavy and everything because I was always worried about the papa in this harsh world, but the papa and I, we made love in the real sense, not in a sexual sense. I had my arm around him. And he always put his face into my boobs, because it made him feel safe. And I realized how dependent I was on the dogs, on Kenny too, the Great Dane, before Papa. Papa rescued me from the grief over Kenny. I don't think I would have made it. I would have committed suicide if I hadn't found the Papa. I'm sure. I would not have made it through the grief over Kenny. Kenny was the blue cod in dog form. He had light blue eyes like the sky. Papa rescued me. I rescued him. And he was already old, and I dreaded that the day will come when he leaves us. But we had him for almost 3 years. That was a good time, really good, easy going. I sang for him. sing Papa Dog songs for him every day. For Kenny too. I sang Kenny songs. Every dog had a specific song that I made for them. Just like that. Without thinking about it. Emotional songs for the dogs. So, without the dogs, I feel thrown into the world. And that's part of my life. It's part of my life's journey. This is my opportunity now to not cling to a dog, to that addiction, dog addiction, just for the time being. I almost got 2 dogs from the animal shelter just the other day. We've been thinking about this. Should we get them or not? One is a bulldog mix and one is a pitty. They would look good together. But then I had to think about this very, very, very for like hours and hours and hours. And I couldn't sleep. I was thinking about the dogs and I thought, okay, that's it. I'm sorry. I cannot do it. I have to have an extra large dog. I'm sorry. This sounds extremely selfish. Because those 2 dogs, they're extremely cute, but they're small dogs. They're like, I don't know, 40 pounds, 45 pounds. Okay, those are the people at the animal shelter. They'll say they're medium-sized dogs, probably. Maybe they are, so, like in dog standards. So, medium-sized dog. I view them as small dogs. Big starts at 100 pounds. So, or at least 80 pounds. Papa was 85 or 90 or something like that. So the Papa was a big dog. Kenny was huge. He stood like, I don't know, like almost 8 feet tall in the shelf, and he weighed as much as I weigh. He weighed over 200 pounds. He may have weighed 225 pounds or 210. I was at that time 210. We were at about the same weight. I need a large dog, and it's very selfish, but I have to have a large dog. And I dreamed about finding 2 European Basset Hounds. The European Basset Hounds are quite different to the American Basset Hounds. They have split into like 2 different dog breeds. The European Basset Hound is much larger. They are the males are between 70 and 110 pounds. Females are a little bit smaller. So that's my dream. 120 pound European Basset Hound. And the best would be to find him out there somewhere on some parking lot, roaming around. That's what I dreamed about. Paul and I were on some kind of parking lot somewhere on a vacation, on our van dwelling vacations, and there was this parking lot with a lot of industrial debris and cement piles and rubble of old metal bars and stuff like that lying around. It was dusty and it was chaotic, and there were some street lights that were dimly shining over to the parking lot, and suddenly I see a female and a male European Basset Hound. Like they were like 1 year old, running around in there. Someone must have brought them there and left them. That's horrific. This happens. It's absolutely horrific. That's why I urge people, if you can't keep your dogs, bring your dogs to an animal shelter. Make that effort for them. Okay. Do that. Do that for the dogs. And do it for karma. Okay. It's horrific karma when people abandon animals. I'm just letting people know. But that should not be the motivating force. But unfortunately, for most people that is. So, not for me, of course. I get threatened with hell. I said to people, I go to hell anytime. If I go to hell for being a good person, for rescuing an animal or child, I go to hell, of course, anytime. Life is already hell. It really is. And I had many of these dreams that I had last night, where I was surrounded by people who thought that physical pleasures is the only thing there is. They never learned anything. They never learned that there is true love. And by true love, I mean the love you have for an animal or for someone who may not return that love, who may not be returning anything. Like, I know a guy who is an angel soul. He's taking care of disabled people. And I'm sure they show appreciation. But he's doing this because he cares. And I know people who rescue others, and they do that because they care. And when we rescue someone without expecting anything in return, that's true love. That's true love. And I've done that many times, and I don't expect anything in return. My Japanese friend Yasuko, I rescued her from going into a prostitution ring to Nigeria. We were standing there with shaking legs when I had my abortion, because I was on pharma drugs at that time, and my boyfriend was a cocaine pusher on the street. There's absolutely, that's not fair to the child. Okay. So I had an abortion, and my friend Yasuko called me a murderer. I cried because I knew this was the end of our friendship. I can't be with a friend who calls me a murderer. So I wished her well, and I let her go. And she was crying. She was really heartbroken about it. that came. She thought that this is the end of the world, you know. I don't understand. It comes from religion. That's where it comes from, because if we are in a natural mental state, we see the entire picture of the situation. We see the ethics part of it. We don't only see the moral standards that have been imposed on us. So, but I let her go, and I kind of felt sorry for her, actually, for being in that mental state. But, you know, I am very, very happy that I saved her life. I'm forever happy about that. And that's what we do. That's what feels really, really good. You know, that's just what you do when you love, you know. Not because of getting good karma. When people do something good because they want good karma, then they're already not doing it for the right motive. The ego snaps in most people, and the moment the ego is running the brain, then the person is no longer in a natural state. And in my dream, there was Paul and I. We visited an old friend of mine, Lana. I hope she's okay. This is a very bizarre dream because Lana always rescued animals and always felt very, very, very strong compassion for the animals, had strong love and everything. But she blocked me at some point out of her life because I am not on board with her religion and with her other crazy, all of those beliefs that are very mentally ill. She thinks that euthanasia is wrong, for example. That's a biggie for me. You know, when someone thinks euthanasia is wrong, I'm out the door. Because, I mean, it's a long story. I met her through a friend, and she brought me to this. She and her friend, they wanted to save a bunch of cats from an animal shelter, and I was on board for that, and because those cats were suffering. But they were suffering because that animal shelter was underfunded, and they didn't want to do euthanasia, so that causes suffering. A lot of people don't seem to put A and B together. But then my friend Lana and Lily, then they didn't want to have anything to do with euthanasia either. So how can we help the animals then? A long big story, a big drama, all of that. But I dreamed about her last night, and Paul and I, we went to her apartment. She had some kind of apartment in a high-rise building, which is all completely not real. She has an old run-down house, which she never showed me because she knew that if I saw her house and the condition that her animals are living in, that I would call the Humane Society or PETA or SPCA for sure. And there were some other women that had me already on their red list for that. They turn it around, you know. They turn this in their heads around because they are so brainwashed from the religion into thinking that death is the worst. No, no, hell no, like hell, no. But they don't get it. and I didn't seem to get it across to them. So Lana and I, we had to part ways. I used to talk to her a lot. That's when I still also had a mobile phone, only to talk to her on the phone. Also, in case animal rescue situations would come up, I had to have that phone. But then after she blocked me way out of her life, I let the phone, we have prepaid phone, I let it run out, and I never got another prepaid phone. So Paul has one free phone from some kind of California help thing, and that doesn't work in most regions. And he has a prepaid phone that works at the other house as well. And he doesn't let me use his phone, but I don't even want to use a mobile phone with cell phone antenna technology and all of that. I don't want that radiation. I just go to an internet place and get on my computer. That's so much better to do. That's much less radiation. And I have this computer also sitting on a bag that has some kind of metal particle plastic shield inside. So I'm like a tin hatter type of. It's my tin hat. No, it's not a tin hat, but it has something. It has something reflective here. So that kind of works as a tin hat protection from the corporate agenda coming over with drones and radiating suicidal thoughts into me. Nicola, I don't even want to say it. I'm like, hey, no, get the heck out of my life. It's my message to the corporate middlemen out there. But anyway, my dream. We were at Lana's apartment in some kind of weird, cold high-rise building, and she was there, and she had lost 100 pounds. And she was there with another friend of hers, and it looked like they were prostituting themselves. They were dressed in lace and in corsets, and they looked like they hadn't washed themselves. Like, it looked like those lace corsets and stuff. It looked all dirty and greasy. And I didn't even want to go near her in that dream. I was standing there in the middle of the room, and suddenly I see Paul in her bed. Paul is tucked under her blanket at the other end of the room. And he had this horny look on his face, which is strange because I haven't seen him horny in a long time. Certainly not for me. And she looked like she was 30 now. I mean, Lana's Paul's age, 65. I haven't seen her in a long time. Suddenly in my dream she was 30 and she was like 200 pounds and dressed in lace, and she looked really sexy, and I felt jealousy. But I'm not jealous of a lifestyle like that. I'm not jealous of someone who is in a mental state of just perpetually running away from childhood trauma and just perpetually trying to please their society, perpetually thinking, okay, I need to outdo the other one, let me be let me be even more sleazy, and then I'm even hotter, and I gotta even wear more lace and more high heels, and then I'm even hotter than her, and then I'm whatever. Then I go on the street and I get cum on me, and then I feel even hotter than her. That's the mind state of a lot of people. Okay? And that's the mind state of the two women in my dream. I know this is all. I don't want to be. It's very difficult for me to talk about this because I know how this comes across. This will come across as me being some kind of grandstander or some kind of virtue signaler. I am definitely not a grandstander or a virtue signaler. Please don't get that wrong. Okay? Please don't. I'm just looking at the situation with I'm looking at society, I'm looking at people's act outs. And I look at it from the sky perspective. I'm not hating them. I feel sorry for them, you know. I want to help actually, but any kind of help would come across as a Karen, which I am, of course. I am a huge Karen. You better believe it. A good one. There may also be some bitches out there, but I'm a good-hearted Karen. That's what I am. I'm also a dork. I'm also a nerd. I think a lot. So I'm also wide open sexually and spiritually. I don't like that word. I don't like it. I'm wide open in my mind. I'm like a child, and my body is just epically open, you know, and epically in need for physical love. And it's wonderful, you know. It's wonderful to be so open. It's physically to be so open. But that's a natural state. Some people think that some sleazy hooker is that way. No. No. It's a big difference. Just because someone puts lace on and goes out onto the street. I met a guy a while back, I don't know, about a year ago or so, who really, he still thinks, an older guy, he still thinks he needs the woman to wear high heels and these fish lace stockings. I said no. He said, no woman has ever said no to me. Well, it's the first time then. Because I'm a natural person. I'm not going to put shit on my body like this. Certainly not high heels. If I want to wear high stockings, I make them myself. And they will have flower patterns on it. And they will be comfortable. You better believe it. That works too. You bet. I'm not going to put uncomfortable accessories on me. I will never do it. I regret that I had my earlobes pierced. I really regret that. I will never have body piercings. I'm not judging anyone who has them, but just what I want to say to those people is, your skin is so infinitely precious. Be good to your skin. Don't hurt your skin, ever. Don't put any more tattoos on your skin. Don't pierce that skin with any more stuff. So please don't. Be good to your skin. You need to write hearts onto your skin. You need to write on your skin, I love you. Yeah. And that's what Big Mama wants to do. Big Mama wants to write those hearts on your body and kiss it and give kisses, with self-made lipstick and say, you are infinitely precious, all of you people. I'm not gonna kiss everyone. There's only one I want to kiss. But let me get back to my dream. Anyway, the dream was very, very painful. It was all night long. It was like this. I was standing in the room, or on the streets, or somewhere. I was always somewhere, standing, observing the chaos around me. Me, the dog, the natural person, and the other people would look at me suspiciously, thinking that I'm a Karen or a police officer. Because I wasn't dressed like them. I wasn't on board. They could see it in my face, in the dream already. They could see it in my face that I was not on board. It was their act outs. Because what they're doing, and what most people are doing is acting out. They're running away fast and they're going nowhere. They're running away from their childhood trauma. That's what they're doing. What happens, if you... And that's the inwardness meditation process. That's when you go into that ego dissolution funnel. I made a painting of that. You let yourself fall. It's a falling process. That's why I painted myself falling from an airplane down into a palm tree. And then dangling up there in the palm tree, not knowing where this is going to take me or anything. So, but that's what most people don't want to do. Most people, they want to cling to the only things they know, which is pleasures. There will become addictions. Anything can become an addiction. I'm addicted to dogs, which is very wholesome. But, if this becomes an addiction and I cannot function without the dog, I have to have a dog. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that or anything, but that too, then it's an addiction, it's an escape. I can clearly see now, looking back on my life, when I have a dog, then I don't have to face going into the world. No, then I'm Big Mama, all satisfied. Big Mama's mothering needs are satisfied. I don't need to go out in the world. I'm not a horny lioness. So, which I am now. And there's nothing wrong with it. So, a natural person, a lioness, whose babies had been taken away from her. And in the dream, I felt this feeling of, there's this chaos around me, chaos in the world. Like drugs, paraphernalia, hypodermic needles on the street. I found drug paraphernalia once in a dryer. In where was that? That was Param or Las Vegas. I think it was in Las Vegas, which is not doesn't. It's no surprise, of course. You go to a laundromat in Las Vegas. You go in there as a nerd who travels. You put your laundry innocently into the dryer and you pull them out, and there it is. There is an empty. I don't know what was in there. It's like, for someone with OCD, that is not the best thing that can happen to you. That made me suffer really badly. Even though that thing was washed, it was like, oh, I have such OCD with filth and and with all this, the drug stuff. There's this guy, the Wolf of Wall Street. He was interviewed by Logan Paul on YouTube. I thought that was depressing but very interesting. And he's out of that scene now, so he's no longer immersed in this, what I was dreaming about, this total chaos, party society. He's no longer there. I'm so happy for him. God. But he was talking about his heydays of chaos party shit that he had experienced, and I'm not even going to go into the details of it. I will cry. It's so depressing. But it's that kind of stuff that I have just unimaginable OCD with. I would never go to any party. It wouldn't matter who the host is. The host could be Vin Diesel, who I used to have a crush on in the past. Not anymore. I don't have any more celebrity crush now. So I'm completely cured from that. It's like it got completely erased. I'm so glad. My goodness, I had a crush on James Hetfield in the past. It didn't feel good at all. It wouldn't matter who invites me. Even if the Dalai Lama even if let's say someone who I would want to meet, even if I know Donald Trump would never attend something like this. Never, ever. Nor would Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton. But, I certainly would not attend the party at the White House right now with those kind of people. It's like, yikes, like, heck no. Is there anyone right now who could... Okay, let's say the Wolf of Wall Street. Interesting to listen to him. I'm not attracted to him, but interesting to listen to his stories. He's like a godfather who tells us kids, don't repeat my mistakes, please. And I really respect him for doing that. But let's say he invites me to a party, I would want to go. But if that party had any kind of alcohol on there, like waitresses with champagne trays, sorry, no, I will not attend. I don't want to be near alcohol. I don't even want alcohol on my skin. I've been struggling with Paul about this. He wants me to use these sanitation wipes after I had been in a store. He makes a big fuss about this, like huge. And I say, no, I use my baby wipes with aloe vera. That's good enough. No, that's not good enough. You have to use those sterilizing, ammonia-loaded alcohol wipes. And they smell like 10 miles against the wind. People think I'm an alcoholic if I put that on my hands. And I've done that a few times just to appease him because he has anxiety. But the last time I had to put this on my hands, I said, that's it, I'm not going to do this again. I don't want alcohol on my skin. I don't want alcohol anywhere near me in any form whatsoever. Okay, it could be a burgundy, some kind of $1,000 wine that my dad would buy. I want nothing to do with that. Already the last time I visited my parents, my dad wanted me to make dinner for him and another architect friend, and they came and they ate dinner with me, and my dad opened this really expensive bottle of red wine, and I said, no thank you, I have my, what did I use? I had this German health food company red grape juice, pure, completely pure, nothing else in it. Völkel, the real expensive Völkel pure juice, red grape juice, and I poured that into my wine glass, and I said, cheers. And they looked at me funny, and they looked at me like I'm a Karen and like I'm a grandstander. I could see it in their faces, in my dad's face too. My dad felt embarrassed about that. Oh, he feels embarrassed that his daughter isn't drinking alcohol. Whoa, what? Man, these people, they got their values so upside down, man. I can't believe it. But yeah, so that's me and that's them and that's me, and the world out there is like them, and most people are partiers, and I want nothing to do with that, and I have OCD with that, and I can't stand cigarette smoke. Okay, I have extreme OCD with cigarette particles, with any tobacco particles, extreme. I know that's mental illness, of course, when it gets extreme like this. I'm not saying that everyone should be like this. No, we shouldn't have any OCD. We should stay away from that stuff, but OCD, now that takes it to a mental illness level, of course. And I freely admit that, but it is what it is, and that's where I'm at right now, at this point. Okay, so maybe in the future I won't be having to take an hour of shower after I have sat on some chair where a smoker may have sat on. So something like this. Maybe in the future that's not going to be this extreme. But I'll still not want to be around smokers. So I can't. I just cannot. So in the dream, I felt like I was already on edge, and then I guess they could pick that up, but it was just a dream, and my friend Lana was completely different now. And because she had one time she said to me, when she loses weight, a long time ago, she said to me, when she loses weight, she becomes this different person. It kind of was a red flag for me, so I didn't like to hear that. So why would, by being more attractive, suddenly she'll be not as caring or something? That doesn't make any sense. I didn't ask, I didn't quiz her on that. But in the dream, I said to her, Lana, you used to be very compassionate and caring. What happened? You're ice cold now. And she was ice cold in that dream. And she said, well, whatever. And she and her girlfriend, they laughed. And then I saw Paul in her bed with starry eyes. And I said, okay, guys, have fun. Have a good one. I walked out the door. I closed that door. I kind of made my way through that big apartment building. I guess down the elevator out on the parking lot. I went into some kind of van, I guess, or bus, and I was driving away, and then that bus, dreams have unlimited possibilities. That bus was alive, was a biological being, still on wheels, but that bus was a very frisky and risk-taking young stallion, sort of, mind, still in bus form. And I was like, am I here on the steering wheel now, or are you making the decisions? And that stallion bus being said, I am in charge. Okay, you can steer the steering wheel any way you want to. It won't matter to me. I'm going where I'm going, and I'm gonna put us at risk. And I said, okay, no, this is not a good situation to be. I felt really, and I've had many dreams like this, and many of my dreams I was naked. On top of that, I would be naked sitting on the back bench of a vehicle that was driving alone. That was long before Tesla self-driving machines. So when I had those dreams, so I always associated that with absolutely being totally out of control, and the vehicle being totally out of control. Not like a very intelligent robot. So I'm waiting for the robots. I hope this is not too long now, this video. But anyway, I want to wrap this up now. Suddenly Paul was driving and I was on the passenger seat, and it was at night, and there were extraterrestrials coming, and they were shooting explosions into the sky, and the sky became red. And then I said, they're extraterrestrials. They're invading our Earth, and they were shooting these firecrackers, looked like firecrackers that have this glowing vapor coming off, vapor trail, like contrails, but really huge. And I saw that ahead of me, but in the sky, above the horizon, and more of those explosions in the sky, and I see like ET spaceships making these contrails and explosions, and I thought they're going to kill us. And then I was driving again, but not in charge. And then the van was driving out of the margin of the road. The van was driving out into the very right side, past the road markers, and there were road posts along the way. And the van was just driving past these posts, and then was driving completely crazy, ending up and I thought I was going to have a collision. And then the van was laughing, and the van was finally getting stuck in, and we didn't have a collision, but we got stuck, and that was the end of the dream. Wow, amazing. So anyway, take care.